Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another edition of what is in our stand today. I'm George, I'm your host, and what I'd like to talk to you about is the service work I'm going to do on this BMC and about some inventory issues as well. So before we go any further, please like and subscribe to this channel. We're trying to get the subscribership up. I'd like to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'd like to be able to, do more of these videos and spend more time doing that. So like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because that way you will get notified whenever I post a new video. So what we talk about on this channel is typically bike service, new products, technology. It could also be clothing, it could be power meters, it could be just about anything that I bring into the store. So what we'd like to talk about is this BMC SLR01 bike, and as you can tell, it's got some nice Dura-Ace wheels on it. It's got a full Dura-Ace component group, actually. Even the Dura-Ace power meter, which you don't see that many of them out in the field. A lot of pro teams use them, but as far as consumers, you just don't see that many of them. But it is a Di2 bike, so electronic shifting, and we'll have other videos on electronic shifting and mechanical shifting, also on how to do adjustments to your derailleurs and things like that. So what we're going to talk about is what we're going to do to this bike in particular. And this customer has become a very steady customer as of late, and he rides a lot, so he's putting a lot of wear and tear on his parts, and that's good for my business, but that's also good for him because he's actually getting out and riding, and we like that. All right, so there's going to be a very rough transition. I'm going to walk up there and grab the camera myself. I don't have video editing, and if you're new to the channel, I apologize. It's not polished, but it's authentic. And when this channel grows, I hope to maybe trade services with a video editor. All right, so stand by for the transition. And what we're going to do to this bike is we're going to replace the chain. But what I found interesting on this one is that the chain was worn unevenly. So if you've ever seen or not seen this tool before, when you put it on a new chain, this little window will show you either 2.5 or 0.5. I'm sorry, 0.25 or 0.5. If it is worn, it'll show 0.75 in the window, and then as the more it wears, the more you'll see. So this is a 0.1 or 1.0. Sorry about all the points, but you get the idea. All right, so what I did was I marked certain parts of the chain just so this could be a little bit faster to show. But in this section here, this just goes all the way past. The 0.75 is in there. It's hard to see, but trust me, it's in there, and it's past the 0.75. But then if you go to another area, it won't be as bad. All right, so then we go to, let's say, this area, and it is less than 0.75. But of course, we are going to err on the side of caution and safety, and also the nuisance of having poor shifting. So we're gonna replace this chain. It's worn unevenly, but it's worn to a point where in certain sections of the chain, it's more than the amount that is within tolerance. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about tire wear. And with Continental tires, on some of their tires, they have what's called wear indicators. And here's one right here. And I made a little mark with a gray Sharpie so it would be easier to find while doing the video. And basically what they're saying is, you know, we recommend that you replace the tire when you see these wear indicators wear down. And you have these on your car tires as well. Whenever you go to a tire shop and they break out a tire depth gauge, there are also indicators, wear indicators on that tire. So I wanted to show you the difference between a new one and a worn one. So you see this right here. These little things that look like punctures are actually your wear indicator. Okay, and it's funny because I have had customers tell me, "Oh, I got these weird little poke holes in my tire. Do I need to replace it? What's going on?" So now you can see the difference between a worn tire and a new tire. Well, the other things we're going to do is we're going to replace his pads because they are worn, and then the rotor because it's worn. So when you look at these rotors, one of the things that you need to be aware of is the fact that when they wear, there's a certain minimum amount that they are that is safe for them to have. So for example, this is what the rear wheel measures now, and then we will show you what a new rotor measures at. All right, so the rotor that's on the bike now measures really close to the minimum thickness, which is 1.5. And the minimum thickness, as you can see there, it's 1.4. And if you were to get a new rotor measures about 1.8. So that's quite a bit of wear when you're looking at how much these rotors are wearing down and then what is acceptable. So here is a new rotor, about 1.8 or so. And yeah, so there it is, about 1.9. All right, so that's worn down quite a bit. So we're going to replace that rotor. We're going to replace the pads, mainly because he's experiencing some squealing. But there's a little spring in there that you might be able to see. You see that spring? That's about 1 millimeter. And really, you don't want to get all the way down to the width of that spring. But if you do, that's a very obvious measuring gauge to tell you that you need to replace your brake pads. Now look at the difference between a brand new brake pad and how much, as we call it in the industry, how much meat there's still left on that pad. So now you can tell the difference between the worn pad and how much is left as opposed to how much is on a new one. This is the retaining bolt that's holding those pads into the brake caliper. There's a little cotter key right there, and you'll need a very small straight screwdriver to get at it. Apologize, that's not focusing in, but you get the idea. We're also going to do the chain as I showed you with the chain guide. That's just a box for the digital calipers. When we torque things, we should use a torque wrench. And the rotors, we're going to reinstall with this tool here. It's the FR-5 from Park Tool, but if you have another brand of tools, that's fine. And this fits really nicely into this socket, which is a 1-inch socket, or a 25.4 millimeter. Okay, so you can use that with your large torque wrench, and it's currently set at 40 because that's what we need. And then to put the through axle back on, this particular bike is 10 Newton meters, and different bikes have different settings. Some are a little bit more, some are a little bit less. And two Continental tires that we're putting on there. So, and he's been riding tubeless. He's been enjoying tubeless. There is another video there in the future for tubeless. But one of the other things I wanted to show you is how bad the inventory situation is. So this is for the disc brake pads that we need for road. And this is direct from the Shimano website. So I ordered directly, obviously, from the dealer portal. And this is for the center lock brakes. Brake rotors, I should say. So there is the 140 and the 160 rotor. And the eagle eye might have caught the fact that the rotor I showed was an Ultegra rotor. And that is correct. That is an Ultegra rotor as opposed to being a Dura-Ace rotor. And that's because we just can't get Dura-Ace rotors for the time being. But it is a Shimano product. It is very high quality. And we're going to be fine by using the Ultegra rotor until Dura-Ace rotors are back in stock. Okay. Anyway, that's all for now. We will do this, get the customer back on his bike tomorrow, and I'm sure I'll have something else to post about. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you that subscribe to the channel. Please tell your other friends to subscribe and like and hit that notification bell, because I'd like to grow this channel to at least 1,000 subscribers and get up to 4,000 hours of people watching the service videos and new product videos that I make here. All right. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.